Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome to American Fire. I'm Ace, and we're going to do it tonight. The king is in town. I don't know if you heard, but King Charles has come on over across the pond. Is he kissing the ring? We're going to talk about that tonight because, my friends, with the timing, it sure looks suspect, doesn't it? We're going to break that down and how Iran, with where Iran's at, the ties the city of London, as I've covered extensively on this channel, it makes perfect sense. And now would be the time when Charles would come over and, Trump's got them. He's got them completely cornered. So we're going to break that down exactly from where we're at in Iran, how it looks like it's about to end, and then what's going on with the king here. And finally, we'll get to updates on the shooter this weekend, how the left is just going right back to the same old rhetoric that got the shooter riled up in the first place. And, we'll have to do our grifter report, of course, because, there's always the grift going on, and it's got to be called out. So welcome, guys. Lots to cover tonight, including maybe just we might be witnessing the end of the deep state from the globalist side of the pond. All right, let me say hey to the peeps in the chat before I get started. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's say hey to some peeps. US1, what's up, brother? Cass Sync, Wago Waco. Jeremy James, Ray Sandoval, Fabuloso. What's up, brother? Toe Cramp, Ellen Hunt, Job for 9. Let's freaking go. Alice Ford and Vince Feliz, Jesus saves me. Miami RN, Gen X MAGA, the one, what a do, my brother. Job for 9 with a $5 super chat already. He says, keep up the great work. God bless. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for the support of the channel. Greatly appreciate it. We got Jesus Saves in the house. Teslin Joe, Tammy Anderson, Seth Linnero, Just Mike, CJ Yukon, Kim Wiley, Scott Volkovich, Funny Guy, Jeremy Copeland, Aiden Scotland, Pagar, Saved by Grace, and so many more. AZ Tropic, Lochtefeld, SoCal holding it down on Rumble. Love it, guys. All right. I called out a lot more than 10. I can't do everybody. It just takes too long these days. But, get in that early. Get in early. Get the shout out. You get the shout out. So I'll do my best to keep calling you guys out as much as possible because love the chat. The community is what makes this channel special. I get to sit up here, I talk, I break stuff down, but the community, man, that's what makes it different. It's you guys adding to the chat, adding to giving me the great questions, great sometimes great news I missed, great connections. I greatly value the chat. Just no trolls. We don't do any trolls in this house. The trolls, if you're trolling, you get banned. I'm sorry, that's how it works here. This is a place of respect and honor, and you will be respectful in my chat or you get the bounce. All right? Get the bounce. The mods will take care of it, and if they miss you and I see it, I'll take care of it. So, so we'll take care of it. All right? All righty. Also today, one thing I'll get to in a little bit is what does it look like? What does it look like if the deep state goes bye-bye and Trump pulls all this off? What does that look like for America? I wrote an article on it tonight to post on X, and I'll be sharing that as well. And guys, if you're not excited yet, wait till you hear how things are trending based on everything I'm seeing. It could be a very exciting future here soon. So thank you guys for the support and all that. Let me see if I make sure I don't miss anything before I get started here. You guys are here. Charles is in D.C. to rein in Trump. Now that's hilarious. First he's controlled by Israel. Now he's controlled by UK. Okay, that's funny. I did see that Trump and Charles are 15th cousins. Yeah, so there you go. 15th cousins separated. Daily Mail tracked them both to a Scottish lord way, way, way back. But 15 degrees of separation. So, I think it's safe to say they're not that close. Anyways, all right, let's get right to it, shall we? Let's not waste any time. Asomaniac, I like it. Yeah, be nice. Chat as bouncers. That's right. It is on subscriber mode now. So if you want to get in the chat, you have to be a subscriber. All right. That's one way I keep the trolls out. Nobody wants the trolls, nobody wants them. They're no fun. And being that I touch on, hardcore subjects all the time, stuff that's very sensitive, whether it's politics or religion. I talk about all the stuff your mom and dad or grandpa told you not to talk about at the dinner table. That's what we talk about here. And that always brings out the trolls and the passionate ones that are so angry, but chill out, guys. By the way, I'll go through the chat as best I can in between segments. If you want to get my attention, the best way, the only guaranteed way, is a super chat, but I do look for the tags as well for people who tag me, try to get that. Otherwise, it's really difficult to see with all the scrolling. It goes really fast. Okay. I'm going to say let's get started again for the 5th time. You guys ready? Let's do it. Let's get right into it. Starting with Iran tonight. Guys, the clock is ticking now. The other day we heard 3 days. Now some are saying 13, some are saying 15, some are saying 2. It's all over the place. Nobody knows for sure. But what we do know is Iran is running out of space to store their oil. It is starting to really, really weigh on them. It's, the financial pressure is starting to tighten on them incredibly, which Trump's blockade's working. It's a genius idea, the siege. It put Trump completely in control of the whole situation, the U.S. in control of the whole situation. They're already defeated militarily. This is choking them out the rest of the way. So we wait it out and we see what happens. But one way or the other, they're either going to lash out or they're going to surrender. That's what it's going to come down to. So let's look at where we're at. This confirms 13-day onshore storage estimate. It has to be an estimate because, again, nobody knows for sure. Iran's using containers and junk storage in Avaz and Asaluya to avoid cutting production, and now rail. Their delay taxes are measured in days, not weeks. Rail's a dead end. Iran's own senior rail transport expert Morteza Nasserian told Mer News there are only 2 rail corridors to China, never used for petroleum, with severely limited capacity, zero bulk crude infrastructure. The floating storage fix equally thin. Iran pulled Nasha, a 30-year-old retired VLCC, out of the breakers. Nasha buys maybe 48 hours. JAS terminal storage tanks have reportedly already hit maximum capacity as of April 25th. So the storage tanks are full. They're full, and they're trying to just find anywhere else to put their oil before they have to shut down those wells. And once again, they shut down those wells. It's big-time problems. Many of them, as people have been studying this, so that the information keeps coming out, many of those wells will never come back. They'll immediately, once they go down, they're so low pressure, water, it's believed salt water will flood in, and those wells will just have to be redug, which sets them back a long time. Some tankers anchored near Karg acting as improvised overflow. Fleet the Islamic Republic can't replicate scale. The 2020 precedent, some point out, 85% storage utilization plus 120 MBBL float, which I'm not quite sure what that means, was managed under very different conditions. It was sanctions without a naval blockade and with active export channels still partially open. Escape valve is gone now. Iran's tankers are already filled up with 166 million barrels just sitting there. Bottom line, containers, junk tanks, retired VLCCs, and rail fantasies not a storage strategy. They're the last moves of a system running out of room. Exactly on the timeline estimated. Don't forget about the gasoline shortage clock. That's not going to happen here because we have way more than enough, but it will happen overseas. China, UK, EU. Now, this is definitely affecting Europe the most right now. Europe and some other small, maybe some Asian countries. What it's not affecting yet, and yet is the key word, is China, because China has massive reserves. However, China doesn't like dipping into those, and China also knows this is affecting them from storing up more cheap oil. They want it on the cheap because their economy is flailing right now. And if they can't get that oil cheap, they got to start paying more for it. That's no good for them. You would think China would have figured out how to find some oil in that massive country of theirs, but I guess not. I guess it's just not great land. I don't know what's going on over there, but it's gotten so bad that Iran is now burning its own oil Massive flares and black smoke over Kazakhstan as blocked exports leave tanks full. They're forced to torch the excess to keep operating. This is when you know you're in big trouble. Now the question is how fast does the oil burn versus it coming out of the ground? Is it fast enough? How long can this keep up? And then you also have to worry about fires going down. You know, you guys ever see There Will Be Blood when the oil well just lights on fire and they have to shut down the well? Yeah, it can get crazy. So this is very risky. Not the kind of stuff you want to deal with, but man, desperation everywhere in Iran. And this is for all those people like, oh, Trump's losing this war. This doesn't look like the country that's winning anything right now. Now, Besant is, you know, I've said it before, this is mostly a financial war. And Trump, with his team, and Besant being one of the leaders of this, you could call him a general, so to speak, because he understands economic warfare so well. Remember, Besant worked with George Soros in the early 90s. He learned how to tank currencies and reset economies, basically. This man is a mastermind of all this stuff. And sometimes working close to the enemy, you learn the tactics and then you turn around and use it on them. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Besant writes out, doing business with sanctioned Iranian airlines risks exposure to U.S. sanctions. It basically is putting everybody on blast. If you do business with Iran, we'll sanction you too. Doesn't matter who. They're just not messing around. We're not playing the games anymore with our allies in the past. Our allies, quote unquote. Foreign governments should take all actions necessary to ensure companies in their jurisdictions do not provide services to those aircraft, including provision of jet fuel, catering, landing fees, or maintenance. Under economic fury, the U.S. Treasury will impose maximum pressure on Iran and won't hesitate to act against third parties facilitating or conducting business with Iranian entities. So this is a shot out across the bow to anybody willing to try to give Iran an out. Don't do it. This is the warfare we're perpetrating across the whole world. Okay, militarily, Venezuela, action, Iran, but economically, Trump is waging war against the entire globalist system they've created. This has been going on since he launched the tariffs. I mean, it's been going on since the first term when they did a variety of different things. But the tariffs really, remember Trump, what did Trump call it? A new Liberation Day. Interesting. Liberation Day heading into the 250th year of our Declaration of Independence. And now a year later, almost to the day, I mean, it was April 2nd was Liberation Day. It's still April. Almost a year later, King Charles is visiting. First time a monarch has been here from the UK since 2007. First time in Trump's entire tenure. Why does he come over here? Interesting stuff. Besant continues on Iran. While the surviving IRGC leaders are trapped like drowning rats in a sewage pipe, Iran's creaking oil industry is starting to shut in production thanks to U.S. blockade. Pumping will soon collapse. Gasoline shortages in Iran next. It's about to get ugly for Iran. And they are freaking out. You have Iran's Supreme National Security Council, led by Mohammad Bakr Zolkadir, reportedly warned anti-regime protests could resume within days as the economy deteriorates. They're worried that people might actually come back and take back their country. Hallelujah. We might actually be seeing it, guys. They might pull off the regime change without ever putting boots on the ground. They said it couldn't be done. You can't change a regime with just airstrikes. Well, watch. Trump's like, watch me. Watch me do that plus economic warfare, and it works. Incredible what they're pulling off. The leaders now are telling us they're worried about. Officials say economic pressure is the main trigger. Always is. Assessment claimed Iran may only withstand another 6 to 8 weeks of U.S. naval blockade. By the end of spring, up to 2 million private sector jobs could be lost. Security officials reportedly concluded unrest is inevitable with only the timing uncertain. Amazing. I'm sorry. I said it since the very first weekend we struck Iran and we watched how we just obliterated their military overnight. This is going to go down as one of the greatest military victories in history. It just is one of the greatest wartime offensive operations ever conducted, and followed by one of the greatest wins ever. We're taking down one of the biggest, baddest countries that we were all told that has tormented us for 47 years between who they funded terrorists and directly. They've killed over 1,000 Americans in 47 years. This place has been a thorn in our side. We were told that Iran, along with China and Russia, you just couldn't go in there, couldn't stop them, but you could only hope to sanction them and cut them off and hope they just suffer along and you just play along. And now we're finding out what a lie it all was. We're just starting week 8. The fighting is no longer going on. Trump's moved to siege mentality, blocking them off, crushing their economy, and they're getting more and more desperate, and we might see regime change. It's incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible. Just give it a few more weeks, and this is all going to be over. It's going to go down as one of the greatest victories ever. Absolute minimum U.S. casualties. No boots on the ground. Iran completely destroyed as far as the big bad they were. Replaced by something new and better. We're going to have it all under control, and Trump is not showing any impatience at all. A week ago, the word was Trump was going to cave by giving them an Obama-type deal. That was a week ago. That was what everybody was reporting. Mark Halperin, NBC News, all the mainstream media. They're about to create a deal. It's basically just going to be the Obama deal. The Democrats were chomping at the bit because they were going to say, you did all this just to get the same deal as Obama? Trump fooled them again. How about all those trust me, bro, anonymous sources? Those are really working out for you guys, aren't they? Meanwhile, the king is coming here. Probably sees the writing on the wall as like something has to be done here. Let's continue. Now, there's some reports we're getting ready for war again. We just moved our 3rd aircraft carrier over there. A senior U.S. official has informed me decisions locked and Iran war will resume. Now, this is a trust me, bro source. So how much do I trust it? Very little. However, what I do watch, what is serious, is the fact we have moved everything over there. I think we're waiting to see what Iran does. Are they going to play games with us again? Are they going to strike at us because their economy is about to collapse? Their oil wells are about to have to be shut off and send them back 10, 15 years economically. Is Trump just preparing for the retaliation, or is he preparing another preemptive? We don't know. But there's a reason all those are over there. As far as whether or not we'll be on the offensive, that's what we don't know. But he reports President Trump's concluded the IRGC is now in power. That is true. Beyond negotiation is likely true. Knowing who the IRGC are, knowing they are complete City of London stooges, and City of London doesn't care if it's a suicide mission for them. They can't afford to lose this. Trillions of dollars that have been pouring into the globalist system through City of London, through the oil manipulation and the shipping, the controlling the shipping. Trillions of dollars over the next decades will be lost if they lose this. This is one of the crushing blows to that system. So they will go down, but the Iranian people have a chance to make sure it's not a suicide mission. We'll see what wins that out. But this guy believes he'll hold fire until King Charles goes back. We'll see what happens this weekend. Shading with one hand, reinforcing with the other. It's very possible. Trump did say we were going to lock and load, and we'd be more ready this time to unleash hell if they don't play. So we'll see. But while this is all going on, we get this drop today. All right. So Chuck Grassley today is bringing up the old FBI investigation, the Clinton Foundation donations, and a Russian uranium 1 deal. So this ties directly to Iran. Uranium One, again, timing is everything. There are no coincidences. It's just not, all of this happening at once is not coincidental. Uranium One, Canadian mining company through acquisitions, controlled significant U.S. uranium assets. Between 2009-13, Russia's state-owned nuclear giant Rosatom gradually acquired majority and full control of Uranium One in stages. It's believed this is Iranian that was given to Iran through Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. Because this involved U.S. critical minerals, it required unanimous approval from Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, interagency panel of 9+ cabinet-level departments, including State, Hillary Clinton. President Clinton signed off. The Clinton Foundation donor in 2005, him and Bill Clinton traveled to Kazakhstan. Shortly after, the Eurasia secured major Kazakh uranium concessions. They later merged Eurasia into Uranium One and donated tens of millions to the Clinton Foundation. Uranium One Chairman Ian Telfer, his family foundation, donated $2.3 million to the Clinton Foundation. Bill Clinton received big money from various foreign entities. Won't go there. Q repeatedly emphasized U1 uranium as cornerstone example of Clinton corruption and pay-to-play treason for personal gain. U.S. sale of U.S. uranium to Russia. And it's believed, again, that one of the reasons Trump wants to get his hands on this is because this is the uranium that found its way to Iran. Dems' attacks on Trump, Ukraine were projection for their own Russia-U1 deals, closed financial systems, China, Russia, Iran as common denominator. U1 is proof the deep state protected the Clintons while weaponizing agencies elsewhere. Grassley's document directly validates existence of 2016 FBI, EC, and unfinished investigative threads Q claim were buried. Think dirty bombs, sum of all fears, World War III, 16-year plan to destroy America. Uranium One is back in the news right as we're taking out Iran. That's wild. So we'll wait and see what happens there. He follows this up with this this massive 2018 post is related to everything happening right now. Why don't you think Trump keeps mentioning Obama and the pallets of cash? Q asked a series of questions, paint a dramatic picture. If you did the research, prove the Iran nuclear deal was not what it seemed. Uranium One material may have secretly ended up helping Iran or Syria build nuclear weapons. Official Iran nuclear deal was supposed to stop Iran's nuclear program, keep it from getting weapons-grade material. It did the exact opposite. What if the program never stopped? What if Iran quietly built a hidden satellite nuclear site in northern Syria? We just pulled out of Syria, so I think Trump took care of that. But where'd the pallets of cash Obama administration sent to Iran actually go? A lot of it was funding terror, but we know funding the nuclear program as well. How many secret plane deliveries happened? How they all land in the same spot? Is the UN material traceable? Possibly yes. The U.S. government know about any of this? Yes. Were other bad actors involved in supplying the uranium? So why did we strike Syria? This was when Trump struck them. The real reason says, this is, I'll Q post. You guys can believe in Q or not. I don't care. A lot of this is nation, which is possible. Remember Trump? That was the only strike he did his whole first term other than Soleimani, which is also Iran, all tied to nuclear, which Trump has been saying for 40 years. Iran and them can't have nukes. I don't think that's coincidental, folks. I really don't. So this is the reason why I think a lot of this makes sense. Bottom line implication, U.S. uranium sold to Russia via Uranium One, diverted to Iran, Syria with Iran nuclear deal and cash payments used as cover. This is true and now being revisited and would mean Clinton Foundation linked deal with Grassley's recent letters now re-examined didn't just risk U.S. security. They directly armed America's enemies with nuclear material, setting the stage for dirty bombs. Guys, if this is all proven true, which I believe it will be, this is just even more evidence of this all being a deep state operation, which you can ultimately trace back to City of London, MI6, so on and so forth, and the Crown. So this is all, I mean, Clinton, obvious, you know, she's one of the worst. Well, they both are. Obama's, of course, he's a Manchurian candidate, raised and groomed by John Brennan himself, the ultimate deep stater, to be president. This was all a part of the plan, destroy America. And it all came down from City of London. They're going to wear it down, going to ruin America. They wanted to keep the Middle East always destabilized, keep that money flow. This is how it was always going to happen. This is what they wanted to do. And Trump was the wrench thrown into the gears that completely derailed it. And you wonder why nobody wants to help us on Iran, despite the fact Iran has been internationally recognized as one of the greatest threats to peace in the Middle East and the world for decades. And so any country that would actually believe that would have every reason to say, well, the U.S. is going for it. We might as well support them so we stay on their good side and we just knock this out. That is logic. That's where the logic ends up if you follow that trail. The fact that none of them wanted anything to do with this, when they were happy to go into Iraq, when they were happy to go to Afghanistan, happy to go into Vietnam with us, all that, all those wars that ended up being complete disasters, they were all for those because those were banker wars. Those were the wars keeping the funding going, keep that war machine going. Trump, now these are real wars. This is wars actually finishing stuff, and they don't want anything to do with it. When you look at it from that angle, suddenly this all makes sense. Very interesting. Chuck Grassley would bring this up now. Tom Luongo calls balls and strikes as well as anybody I've seen. By the way, Tom is the man who, out of every analyst out there, including Promethean Action, Promethean Action is amazing. I've found Tom. I've been following him now for about 5 years, and I've had him on this show. And I got to tell you guys, if you want to see the North Star of where our geopolitics is headed right now, Tom is one of the best. And I have found him to be right almost every single time. And he is bold. He challenges his friends all the time. He is willing to stick up for his beliefs. And he's just proven right over and over again. So there's a reason you see his posts constantly in my thread when I'm doing my research and bringing all this up. It says, for weeks, Iran's been a country at war with itself while Trump simply parried their big move to blackmail the world and get sympathy. The war has been the IRGC versus civilian government. If the IRGC rep, reads City of London lackey, has been removed from the scene and Foreign Minister Argachi is in Moscow no longer under house arrest, this war is in the process of ending. And that's what everything looks to be directed toward and heading towards. And that's a very, very good thing. Imagine that on the same day the King of England is coming to the White House. Absolutely. Tom nails it. And I do believe all of this between Grassley, the economy coming down, the fears, what Besant's doing to their financial system, the fears they have of the people rising up, the countdown on the oil, all of it. The timing, it's just that those walls are closing in and getting tighter and tighter around Iran, which also means they're getting tighter around the deep state. And now the king is in America. So you guys tell me what you think he's here. But I think he's either begging for mercy or coming to offer terms of surrender. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. All right. That's the end of the first segment tonight, guys. I will let me get back into the chat. See if did I miss any super chats? I do see one that just popped up from Job for 9. Says reports Iran is meeting or going to Russia. Any thoughts? There's a lot of those reports, and I will say this. Excuse me. I will say this. Russia is they're going to do what's best for them. Even if we're getting along from them. Even Trump with when the Chinese, they busted those Chinese missiles coming to Iran, and they asked him, they're like, are you mad about this? Because, he said, don't send them anything. And Trump was like, no, I'm not mad at it. He's like, they're doing what's best for them. He's like, we're going to stop it. So Russia they do get stuff out of having alliance with Iran, but they're also not willing to cross us. So is Iran maybe popping up over there? It's possible. It's possible some of their guys are running over there to hide out. Who knows? Russia just doesn't care in the same way we do. But they're also not intervening. They're perfectly happy to push back the deep state because Russia, nobody hates the globalist EU, City of London cabal more than Russia. They have been messing with Russia and trying to take over Russia forever, with a major push happening during the 90s before Putin came in. So Russia's going to do what it's going to do, what's best for them. And this is one of those instances where Trump's just like, stay out of our way. And as long as you're not hurting us. So could it also be fake news, propaganda to make Russia look worse? It also could be that. So hold all of that with a grain of salt, and take it all with a grain of salt and just say, ultimately it doesn't matter unless you see Russia getting involved. That's and doing anything to actually hurt us. That's the way I'd look at it. If some of those officials are running off to Moscow, it's not necessarily hurting us, other than the fact that we can't just target them and bomb their faces off. So, so there's that. Jeremy says, Tom's how I found you. Oh yeah, that's awesome. By the way, guys, please hit that like, hit the subscribe. We're going to talk about the king and what's going on with that in a minute here when he comes over. Gordon says the Queen of England surrendered to Trump 6 years ago. Now it's time for Charles to surrender as well. That's an interesting thought. It really is. Obviously, I think if there was anything going on with Queen Elizabeth at the end there, she was probably so old that she was probably being undermined at every opportunity. And so even if she did something like that, I imagine nobody took it seriously. Remember, the king, to enter City of London, which is the square mile in his own city. Hey, London itself, London proper is the huge city. City of London is a mile by mile square in the middle of London that is sovereign. Just like the Vatican sovereign in Italy or Washington, D.C. isn't quite the same sovereign, but it's its own territory, it's its own district here in the U.S. But City of London is mile by mile, and in order to enter that, the king himself has to go to the mayor, request to come in, bow before the mayor, and be let in of his own country, this little city block in his own country. So that tells you who the real power brokers are. But also whenever I refer to City of London, I'm not just referring to this physical place. I'm referring to the system, the financial system they have built, which is basically the remnants of the East Dutch trading and British Empire system they implemented centuries ago, and they just never fully let go of. And that's been what's funding and controlling everything behind the scenes ever since. Whenever you're referring to our intelligence agencies, MI6, Mossad, CIA, which Trump has reclaimed CIA, but MI6 is still doing their thing. But that's how they run their governments. They put their assets everywhere. They fund politicians, laundering money through everything. It's very complex. They have a million ways to do it. Just look at SPLC. I mean, they have a million ways how they do all this, but that's where it goes back to. That's where those bankers you guys all love to hate, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, so on and so forth. That's Soros. That's them. They're all part of that. And so people get mad at me. They're like, "No, it's not. You're wrong. It's the Rothschilds." I'm like, Rothschilds are just a part of something much larger. They're a large part of it, but they're a voting member of a cabal. They're not alone. So, and that's what it all comes back to. And listen, it took me years to figure this all out. Okay. Years. I went from the guy I heard the term deep state. I understood Rothschilds and Rockefellers and George Soros, understood all that was bad. Understood that they control, there was control in the CIA and these intelligence agencies, understood all that, but I did not have a fuller picture. It took years of research along with other people who had been studying it much longer, who had traced it back much longer, connecting dots for me. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it, and that's how I act with a lot of stuff. I do my own research almost all the time, but sometimes you need somebody else to connect some dots for you. That's just how it works. We're all human. Sometimes we miss something. And when somebody shows us, we're like, oh my God, there it is. And that's what happened to me. Even a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I didn't really understand the whole City of London thing. It took me a while. But again, once you see it, and once you see how UK is in everything we're trying to do, there is UK here, there, funding this, connected to that. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. They just pop up everywhere. It's way worse than China. China's the other one you always saw everywhere. And way worse than Russia. Way worse than Russia. In fact, they're Russia's main enemy, and they have been for centuries. Except for the blip when Russia went Soviet Union, which, by the way, that communism was created by City of London, and the Bolsheviks, that all was created by City of London. So, when Russia went through that system, that had been created by City of London. And it's just crazy the more when you research this stuff and you realize, like, oh my God, like they just had their hands in everything. And they are the great enemy. But they always deflect. They want us to see China as the greatest bad guy in the entire world. And what have we learned? What has Trump totally exposed about China? Their economy is actually extremely weak compared to ours. Not even close. The PSYOPs were telling us China was going to pass us by 2030, that they would have a larger, more robust economy than ours by 2030. That was the PSYOP they were pushing just a couple years ago. Now, China's economy is declining. It peaked at about 73% the size of ours, and now it's down to under 60% or right around 60%. It's declining. They are aging out. All of this is falling apart for them. They are running into so many issues. The real estate bubble is collapsing over there, and they jumped up that GDP a lot by using that. Trump's trade deals are taking away a lot of their advantages with manufacturing and exports. So he's crushing them financially. And then what we also found out is that every little thing we were told we can't do, we can do. China's not getting involved. China didn't come to war to defend Iran. It didn't start World War III. We were always told that. You attack Iran, China and Russia are coming. Nope. Not even a little bit. In fact, China's like, hey, Iranians, cut it out. We need the strait open. Stop messing around. They're like, they're trying to get this over with. But there's, how long have we been hearing that China's going to take Taiwan? Did it happen? No. Now, I think it might have happened if Biden had stayed in or Kamala had gotten in, because that's exactly what, City of London would love to see that. And because it would just weaken the U.S. so much. And, it's gross. It's gross how this all was. But Biden is gone. Trump comes in, and China's not even sniffing Taiwan anymore. And we found our military is so much more capable than China's. I mean, everything China sent to Venezuela, to Iran to defend them, we wiped out in a night. In a night, both cases. 45 minutes in the case of Venezuela. They got Timu weapons. So I'm saying China is extremely weak. Everything we've been told about China, how strong they are, is a lie. They are far behind us. They are far behind us. And so now I can't trust anybody who talks about China as the big enemy. Like Steve Bannon, he's Chatham House, by the way. He's got connections to his own UK intelligence stuff. So, that's why he was talking to Epstein. He had more texts with Epstein than Bill Gates. So, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And All I'm going to keep doing here is keep trying to call it out, show you guys what I see, break it down for you. And if you have a better argument, if you have more information for me, hit me up, send it to me, debate me. I'm cool with all that. Just be respectful, and we'll learn and grow together. But China is pathetic. We've just learned how pathetic China is, and we've definitely learned how pathetic Iran is. None of this, like, you know what the real story is over all these years? It's not that China was as strong as we were told. It's not that Russia was as big a threat as we were told. It's not that Iran was as strong as we were told. It's that they were suppressing the United States' might, power, and prosperity for decades, and pretending everybody else was larger so we wouldn't recognize how much we were just holding ourselves back. And Trump is just proving that. Trump's just proven, like, the U.S., we're so tough, we're so well equipped, we're so prosperous, we can just do things and nobody stops us. The only people who stop the U.S. is ourselves, and that, my friends, is one of the great wins of all this. Absolutely wild. And that's why, when you realize what Trump's showing us, when you realize just how strong we are, and how much we can use these tools for our own prosperity, our own sovereignty, it just makes everybody who's saying we shouldn't do these things look stupid. It really does. It's like, when you realize how easy it is for us to deal with Iran, then why not? How easy it was for us to deal with Venezuela, why not? How easy it is for us to reset the world's financial system so we're not being screwed anymore, why not? And everybody crying is just mad that we're finally waking up to how strong we actually are. That's what they're mad about. They were all living the good life off us. And those times are over. Those times are over. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And it's one of the most amazing things that President Trump has pulled off for us. It's just absolutely incredible. Because I think about, like, my entire life, all the things I was taught about who the enemies are, about the decline of America. And now just seeing what Trump's doing, I'm like, man, how much was I lied about? How much did we all just, how much did our teachers, our school systems, our media, how much have we just been lied to this whole time? Because when you see the truth, man, you see the truth in action. It's so eye-opening. Like, and I've been somebody who's been mostly awake to all this stuff not all, you can never say all this stuff because there's always more, but I've been awake to most of this stuff for a decade plus. And Trump still wows me. Like, when I saw what we did in Iran or Venezuela, it was like, what? That's incredible. When I saw what how we pulled off the Iranian, the military offensive against it, it was like, oh my God. Like, we were not supposed to be able to do this stuff. This was all supposed to be always a struggle session to do any of this. And Trump's just like, no, we can just do things. So, and I have a feeling, there's much, much more coming. And Trump's is just waiting for the correct timing on all of it. Because, frankly, the people got to be ready. But it all seems to be being built up for timing to more and more to be unleashed. Because all he does, it's like just dropping red pills every few weeks, another massive red pill. It's incredible. It's an incredible time to be alive. I can't think of another time I would have wanted to be alive. I'm so grateful we get to live through this. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm seeing all my dreams of America as a great country starting to come true since I was little, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, anyways, all right, I'm gonna get on to talking about the king. But guys, if you don't mind, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Appreciate you guys. If you like this content, you want some more of this deep dive stuff, go into the membership. Click the link in the description. Click the Patreon link. Get a free month. members only content plus access to the Discord, which is the best community on the internet. All kinds of great stuff in there. And then if you decide you want to stay after a month, you can stay and support the channel for a few bucks. But other than that, like, enjoy your free month and see if you like it. But just good time. So hit the like, hit the subscribe at the very least, and tell YouTube how much you love winning, how much you love America, and just make everybody happier. All right, the king and queen arrived today with Trump. Let's watch some of the pomp and circumstance.
Two. Ready doors. Ready pop. Ready open.
It's like Biden.
Three shut. Keep face. Forward march.
Not very impressive. Pretty pathetic looking, honestly. King Charles looks like such a little weasel. This old man weasel. Trump is just such a towering figure over him. This is historic, though. You know, whether you like it or not, it's historic. So, you know, we'll freeze frame it there. Look at the difference, man. Eating that American food versus that British food, that's what that does to you. Keeps you shrunken. Nobody likes British food. That's what it does to you. I imagine he's about the same age as Trump, maybe a little older. But anyways, so he showed up today, and listen, he's going to be meeting with a lot of people. I think he's addressing Congress. I think he's meeting with Mamdani. I mean, he's going to make some rounds, and who knows what they're talking about behind the scenes. But frankly, I don't care. I honestly, what does it matter? You know, it really doesn't. We have our guy in charge, and he's already showing that he's in charge of the entire world. I mean, not really, but you guys know what I mean. Trump has made America, which is the most important nation in the world, the most prosperous, the most important financially, biggest military, all that. He has made us take our rightful place again as number one. And rightful because we earned it. We have the best system. We have the best constitution. We have empowered our people the most. We've earned it over 250 years. So we're just going to take our place, and we're going to use that, and we're going to make it better for us. And so, but knowing all that, it doesn't matter what the king comes and says to anybody else. They're a failing country. The UK is pathetic. And City of London is like the deep state is reeling. Trump is just undercutting them at every possible opportunity. Venezuela was like they were already reeling, but you know, they had maybe a smidgen of hope here and there that if Trump fully took back our country, they at least would have their proxy states out there. They at least could maybe keep the good times rolling for their area, the EU, the Eurozone, and maybe, just maybe in a few elections, they'd get one of their guys back in and then they'd come there. But Trump's he's like, nah, no, I'm going to take out your entire international infrastructure. I'm not just, and people are mad, you know, why is he not doing stuff here? Because Trump isn't just ending deep state in America. He's not just trying to fix our country. He's trying to eliminate them once and for all to make sure that they can never come back. They can never build back. Trump is setting everything up so everybody gets to be sovereign. And what he means by that, we're not interested in controlling other countries. We are interested in making sure the City of London, the globalists, don't control other countries. And that's what Trump's doing first. He's cutting them all off. He's cutting off their resources, cutting off their way of producing their proxy states, breaking it all away from them, making sure we have clear lanes to everything we want to do, which is be the baddest, biggest energy producing juggernaut the world has ever seen, which is how you get prosperity like you've never seen a country. I mean, look at like Saudi Arabia and all these energy rich countries. That's what Trump wants to do here, except without, caliphate. But make America great again. He's going to make us greater than ever again, is what he's doing. He's doing that by not just fixing it here. He's fixing it everywhere. And then once he's done this, it's going to be just like Venezuela. He's going to be like, peace out. We fixed you guys. Now you're in charge of yourselves. We set you free. We're going back. We're handling business at home. No desire to control others, but a strong desire to make sure all of our interests are perfectly no longer to be tampered with. So all these countries that have messed with us over the years, you're done. I mean, Venezuela and Iran had hurt us directly. He's finishing that. Cuba, he's finishing that. But indirectly, and directly in some places, but indirectly in the fact that it's not a sovereign nation itself, he's killing the globalist system, which is Davos, WEF, City of London. He's killing that system. He's choking them all out, and he's making sure it goes away forever. Now this is awesome. So playing they come and we're going to give them our anthem. A lot of times when a monarch would come, you play their anthem to honor them. Say like hello. Making King Charles stand for our anthem. That's gotta hurt a little bit. See, City of London, British Empire never wanted to lose us. They never intended to let us go. We only won the war because it was financially hurting them too much. They had to quit. And it wasn't like we dominated them. This was the greatest empire in world history, and we were a group of colonists who were starving soldiers, and Washington's genius. We outlasted them, and we won Yorktown, the final battle, and they were like, we can't do this anymore. We retreat, and we give in. But then they came right back in 1812, just 30 years later. So they've tried. And they tried, and then through financial means, Britain can't stand that they lost us. They can't stand it. And one way or the other, they've been trying to take us back ever since. So making them stand for the American anthem, love it. Absolutely love it. Historically speaking, this is the first state visit to the White House by British monarchs since Elizabeth and Philip in 2007, which means that they never visited Obama. That's interesting to me. Queen Elizabeth, I don't know necessarily good things to say about her, but I will say this. I think she hated communism, and I think she hated Obama. I really do. Now, as far as their system and all that, I can't tell you enough about her, about how much she was a fan of spreading it. But it is telling that she never came to see Obama. So the itinerary, they're going to do state dinner, White House, address to the Congress, meetings with first responders, victims, and families for 9/11. That's, well, like he says, that is interesting. They're doing a 9/11 ceremony with UK. But also, that's where the Mamdani meeting comes in. And then cultural events in Virginia tied to the 250th. But you see this, 250th, we're making King Charles. But the fact that Trump, as him, first visit, by the British monarchs in 19 years, comes here, this is their system, globalist, City of London system. He brings Charles here, makes him stand for our anthem, and then they're going to go witness us celebrating our independence from them 250 years ago. That's what Trump has set up for him. That is like, even if this isn't Charles surrendering, this is a huge FU to him in a major way. I don't see how you see this any other way. This is not, oh, we're celebrating our British roots. We're celebrating our British ties. We're celebrating the special relationship. No, this is, hey, you're coming here. Cool. You're going to celebrate how we escaped you, how we beat you 250 years later. That, my friends, is fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I love it, and that is so Trump. So interesting timing again. We keep talking about this, but the Trump assassination attempt this Saturday, same Hilton where Reagan was shot. Then King Charles arrives. And then last week, a House of Lords report admitting their empire's toast without U.S. cooperation. Remember I shared that on the show? It's all coming out. We can't live without you guys. If the special relationship isn't healed, we're screwed. And the only way the special relationship gets healed is if they lose. We break them, which he's right in the middle of doing. And it's happening. It's not just them, though. Remember, City of London controls the entire EU. It controls all those countries, France, Germany, Spain. They're all in that system. The Euro zone, the EU, it is the City of London's government, for lack of a better term. It's all set up by them. It's how they run the whole continent. And you see how bad it is for all of them because Trump's breaking the system. But look at what's going on in Germany right now. German economy has been in full-blown depression for years. Private sector investment barely covers depreciation costs. Countries running on fumes. Politicians attempting to fill the vacated industrial capacity with arms production eco projects to stabilize it. Endeavor doomed to fail. At the same time, policy of open borders forever ensuring German welfare states being literally plundered. Countries being abandoned to ruin by a cast of globalists enriching themselves through it. Germany used to be a wonder. An economic wonder, and that was only, a decade, 15, 20 years ago. So they've crushed it that quickly. Well, Trump is crushing that. Germany was the economic driver for the whole EU. They made the money, the EU distributed it. And what Trump's doing right now, choking off Iran and making us the natural gas exporter, he's driving up all those energy costs, and that's breaking Germany, which if Germany's economy breaks, that breaks the entire EU's economy. They're all codependent. And UK, again, this makes UK even desperate. And it's getting so bad in the UK that the people are starting to wake up. We have Keir Starmer, their glorious prime minister. He's less popular than Bush was when he was at his least popular there. 18% popularity in UK right now. So, I don't know what it's going to take. The British people are pretty, subdued. They are not the most likely people to rise up, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon because we're at the point where the UK, they might be having enough between the migrants coming in, the rape issues they got going on there, which is horrific. If your stomach can handle that, those stories are crazy. What's going on over there? But their economy dumping. Trump is using all the chokeholds everywhere. What they were hoping is if Kamala had won, they were going to go all in on the Ukraine-Russia war, fire up the war machine again, and they were going to hope for a massive war. They could turn into World War III. And there's a one time like Alex Jones was close to being right. Reshape, rejuvenate the European economy while also weakening the U.S. so that Europe, this City of London system could spread and become more and more powerful. That's what they were hoping to do. Trump again ruined their plans. So with all of this happening, with all this breaking off, guys, this is where I think we're headed. So I put together this article today, and I want to go through it to kind of give you a glimpse of where I think we're heading, because everything Trump's pulling off is headed to a place. And what we need to start doing, because we're clearly winning, it's time to stop the blackpilling. And it's time to start dreaming of what could come. And because we're going to be, once all this is defeated, which I believe Trump's cleaning up over the next couple of years. But meanwhile, while he's beating them back, our economy is already being reinvested and rebuilt. And what's coming if all this happens, here's just a conservative look at what could be coming. But King Charles on the White House today, media calls it high-stakes diplomacy. Transatlantic tensions over Iran, tariffs, NATO, standard framing. Here's what actually is happening. The old order is stepping back. It's doing it visibly on our front lawn on our birthday. If Trump's full agenda delivers, all of it, today's visit isn't diplomacy, it's acknowledgement, it's surrender. City of London-style financial leverage kept America tethered. It's losing its grip, and what's replacing is something no one alive has seen before. And it's true, because this has been going on for over 100 plus years. So this is what the world could look like. We're already the world's top energy producer and exporter. Crude output plus total liquids puts Saudi Arabia and Russia in our rearview mirror combined. LNG supertankers lined up at Gulf Coast ports because Europe and Asia have no better option. It's not a talking point, it's the current market reality. What does that do? It strips leverage from foreign debt holders. China and Japan cannot play the oil dependence card anymore because the world needs our oil and gas, not theirs. Export revenues are flowing in. Dollar stays dominant. America dictates terms instead of negotiating for weakness. So we're in the driver's seat completely now in the world economy because we are the energy king. And Trump did that. And that might be the single biggest win of the Iran operation so far. And because this isn't going backwards now. This would not have happened without attacking Iran. So gas could stay in the $2 to $3 range long term. I actually think it could get a little lower, but let's just say it settles around the low twos nationwide. Energy bills drop. Downstream effect on manufacturing costs, transportation, consumer goods is real and compounding. King Charles in Washington, that's Europe, acknowledging what the energy map shows. Buy American, keep struggling with green energy shortfalls and whatever's left of Russian supply. The task forces are working. This is for fraud. Hundreds of billions flagged and clawed back already. If AI auditing, better verification, and dismantling of long-running fraud networks compound to $1 to $2 trillion in annual savings, which Trump has said is possible, he thinks it could be $2. The money stops flowing overseas into wrong pockets. It becomes tax relief, debt reduction, domestic reinvestment. Tariffs held in place through national security and unfair trade provisions push manufacturing back to American soil. Combine that with cheap domestic energy and get a simple formula. Factories are open. High-wage jobs come back to places written off. Steel towns, auto regions, semiconductor corridors. We're already seeing this happening. The manufacturing numbers that have been coming in have already been incredibly strong. Surpassing expectations. And it's barely gotten started. Supply chains COVID exposed is fragile, become domestic and secure. Made in USA stops being a slogan. It becomes default. The NATO stops being a blank check. America is no longer subsidizing Europe's defense to tens of billions. Allies hit real spending targets. Alternative is no longer guaranteed American backstop. U.S. shifts to backup role. Europe buys our LNG. American taxpayer money stays home, goes towards our priorities. And here's what happens when this happens, guys. Economic stability arrives, creates conditions. Young Americans can afford to get married, buy a house, raise kids without drowning in debt. Now the culture changes. Family formation will go up because numbers finally work. Two-income households stop being survival necessity, be a choice. Two-parent homes become more common, not from policy, but from stability. Faith comes back. We're already seeing this. Christianity has come back. For the first time, it's reversed the trend in decades. Not forced, not performative. When people aren't in survival mode, they look for meaning. Christianity in particular has been losing younger generations partially because of economic precarity. Change the material conditions, you change calculus. Church attendance climbs, faith communities get stronger. Fruit of that, charity, stewardship, personal responsibility shows up in neighborhoods, not just on Sundays. National pride is shifting from anxious, defensive to quieter and more confident. We're already seeing this as well. The hockey team winning, the rocket to the moon. Even if you think it was fake, okay? Even if you're one of those people, you can't deny it made a sense of American pride. 250th anniversary energy carries forward. 4th of July feels like something again. Schools teach history with pride rather than indictment. We got a while to go to that, but it's possible. We stop arguing whether a country is worth defending because they can see it working. Polarization doesn't disappear but softens. Shared prosperity gives people something real to focus on. Cultural institutions stop trading in cynicism because cynicism doesn't sell when things are going well. 100%. You know, we forced things to go bad in America. It was all designed degradation. Marco Rubio actually talked about this. It was brilliant, but it was by design. They were killing us from within on purpose, and this is why falling apart creates a culture that degrades as well. Creates hopelessness. When people get hopelessness, they start choosing simple pleasures and cheap pleasures, which are also unfulfilling and get more perverse, because cheap pleasure never fulfills. But when you feel like you have nothing else, that's why people keep chasing that. Here's what could happen. Middle class, working class, doesn't matter much. Daily texture if the policies hold. Energy and grocery bills are noticeably lower. Maybe not by price alone, but maybe they hold stable while wages go up. This way, based on a percentage, they're still lower. Actual items on the monthly budget cause less anxiety. Paychecks stretch further because tax increases don't happen. Further cuts come through. Already happening. Raises outpace inflation for first time in years because manufacturing competition for labor is real, not hypothetical. Already happening. We barely started. Factory in nearest mid-sized city running 3 shifts. You know someone who works there. Job pays well, has benefits. People aren't hiding. They work with their hands. That's already happening because AI is killing the white-collar jobs. That has already been seen. Last year, white-collar jobs dropped by 400,000 in America. A lot of it because of AI. We're going back to the days when you can make a real living working a job from a trade school, a tech school, an apprenticeship. You no longer will need college for the vast majority of jobs. And I got to tell you, that sounds like freedom right there. And it will also stop the mass formation psychosis that happens of people who go to college and get indoctrinated. So all of this is can look ahead, guys. Young couples in their mid-20s can buy houses now, not starter condos, with yards and places they want to raise kids. First baby comes before 30. Neighborhood has Little League again. There's community cookout on the 4th. People know each other's names. Church down the street is a full parking lot. Kids grow up hearing their country is the undisputed leader of the free world, and unlike their parents' generation, they can see the evidence for it. They don't inherit anxiety as a default setting. They inherit confidence. This isn't fantasy. It's what happens when policies already in motion deliver. Energy records break, fraud savings compound, terrorists drive reshoring, NATO obligations come home, and cultural confidence follows material success, just the way it's always been. Every American boom. King Charles is here today because the world is repositioning around a new reality. The old globalist playbook's losing its grip visibly on the 250th anniversary of the country, always supposed to be different. Golden age isn't on its way. It's already started. Whew. Can I get an amen? Listen, guys, I put this together because I'm not only seeing it already starting, it's what I absolutely believe is coming. The best is yet to come. And we are breaking the system that most of us were born into. I'm 42. I've only seen glimpses of what American greatness, American exceptionalism can be. I've only seen glimpses in my lifetime. They were beautiful and it felt good. But we were all under this system for so long. And some of you got to live, maybe some of you are older, and you lived before a lot of the system had really taken hold. Maybe you got to experience the 50s where America, even though the system was already getting its grips in, it still hadn't changed the American exceptionalism. Maybe you really were thriving in the 80s when Reagan brought back at least the spirit of it. Even though he couldn't break the system, he brought the spirit back. Maybe that's what he did. Maybe you experienced that. So you got a wonderful, great glimpse. But none of us have lived under the true American system because it hasn't existed since 1913. 1913 is when they instituted the income tax and brought the Fed here. That, my friends, was the beginning of the end of the American system. That was the beginning of the globalist system getting its grips into us. And it accelerated after World War II with the birth of the United Nations and the Marshall Plan. We just started investing overseas and making these countries grow, and we couldn't get away from it after that. And they kept embedding more and more. Communists were embedding themselves in our country and our entertainment and our politics. You know, we had a blip where they went after him and they took down McCarthy, the man leading that charge to get the communists out. They took him down, and then it became taboo to hunt after them again. So the commies, the hardcore liberals, they started infiltrating again the education system, the entertainment system, worked their way into the politics, and look where we got. Trump is killing all of that because these people, even though communism is ultimately their system, they don't think of themselves, most of them don't think of themselves as communists. They think of themselves as globalists. They think of themselves as liberals. And but they are communists. They are. Many do consider themselves Marxists or communists. But the system, even those people, most of them have a system behind them, and it's a system of global financial dominance established by the City of London that has held its hands and tried to control all of us for a very long time. And even that goes back further into dark, dark stuff. You can trace it back all the way to the beginning of biblical times, back to the Tower of Babel, back to the Moloch, the Canaanites worshiping Moloch, sacrificing children. That system it's a demonic system. It's existed since the beginning of time. It just keeps rearing its head in new ways. And Trump is going to beat it back more than it's ever been beat back. And when he does, which he's in the middle of, we're going to see an American. Now imagine this, because I really do think this is coming. It'll look different than the past, so don't be thinking like, oh, I wish it was the 50s all over again. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, some people like idolize the 50s, and there was great stuff about that time, but it wasn't perfect. We're going to get something even better. We're going to get that cultural pride. I believe we're going to get a lot of that cultural hegemony around Christianity for the most part coming back, and we're going to get prosperity like we've never seen in a new era with better technology, and it's just I think beautiful things are coming, guys. There's so much doom scrolling and doom pilling going on, and I got to tell you, that's always been. So if you're in the Industrial Revolution, you were dooming about the machines. If you were in the tech boom of the 80s, you were like, oh, the computers are coming to take us over. If you were in the internet, the 95, Windows 95, oh, the internet's going to ruin the world. Y2K is going to ruin the world. Every generation dooms about change. But if you believe in a big God, that change ultimately always ends up well for the most part, and that's where we're heading, guys. Trump is doing something incredible, so I really do think in 10 years this could be what America's looking like again, and I think along the way we're just going to be getting it. It's just going to be getting better along the way. So I really think this starts going into effect. We start seeing the real beginnings of this in the next 18 to 24 months. We'll start really seeing major differences. And I think we're going to start seeing big changes begin in the economy in about 6 months. But, yeah, guys, the best is yet to come. I believe that with all my heart. Okay, let me get into the chat. Take a little break from the show, get into the chat, say what's up with you guys. We're going to get into a little bit of the Trump shooter stuff next. Some of the updates, and then the grifter report, of course. So, yeah, see, we already got the doomers. Dan the Man says, I think AI is going to be a disaster. It's not. I'll tell you that right now. We will adapt. We will adapt to make the most of it. And it'll end up being a good thing, just like the internet. The internet is wonderful. It's bad, too. Every good thing is a tool, can be used for good or evil. but the internet has also helped create more wealth. We would never have the exposure of the world, of the darkness and these systems that we have now if it wasn't for the internet. So, guys, don't be afraid of AI. There is no tech that can just be created that will just all of a sudden ruin the world. It just doesn't exist. It's never going to happen. So stop dooming about it. And if it happens, you couldn't control it anyway. So, what's the deal? What are you afraid of? Just go live your life without fear. It's not worth it. Let's see here. What did I miss? Did I miss anybody tagging me? What's up, Accelerate Growth? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. F college. That's what I feel. Go Far Political on Rumble says, who spreads the hopelessness? How do we get rid of it? We have to get rid of lamestream media. Listen, Trump's already broken most of their control, but I'll tell you this. People who aren't secure in themselves and in faith are always going to find something to be afraid of. So as long as people don't find that security in God, there's always going to be spreading hopelessness. And so the what we have to do is find and spread a good representation of who God is. It says there's no fear in love, and that's in 1 John. So any fear is not, and God is love. So there's no fear in God. There's fear of the Lord, which is the great awe and wonder and respect of knowing that he could crush you like a gnat at any moment if he wanted to, which he won't, but he could. It's understanding who he is as a fear of the Lord compared to us. But there is no fear in him. And so if we fear anything else, we're believing a lie. We're putting faith in the devil. And so there's just there's no room for fear in this life. I mean, it happens. We can't control our emotions, but we can choose what we do with it. We can choose to grow, to go out of it. Yeah. Fear is negative faith. That's a great quote right there. Nita Charan says the difference is AI affects all things, not just one industry. That's absolutely not true, but I understand why you feel that way, but it's just not true. And by the way, the Industrial Revolution, they all said it affected all things too. Electricity affected all things. There were a lot of people scared of it. There are people scared of automobiles. And guess what? So I work with AI probably more than 99% of you guys. I work with it every day for hours. I think it's just going to be a wonderful thing for people to unlock so much opportunity to get away from busy, stupid work. And it's also going to kill, the, mostly liberal, elites jobs. To a big extent. It's going to significantly lower law, medical, and stuff like that. So Dan says the Bible says the world is F. That's absolutely not true, and that's a that's terrible theology. And whoever told you that or taught you that was a terrible theologian. If you pick that up by just looking at Christians, a lot of Christians believe that. It's a terrible theology. There's just no truth to it at all. The Bible says the world will live forever, and it says Jesus makes all things new. There's no end of the world in the Bible. There's only Jesus coming back to assert full dominance over the world and renew it. What needs left to be renewed. And so it says the increase of his government shall have no end. So things will always get better on a trend, not worse. And all that doomer eschatology is just lies. It's a psyop meant to make Christians think we're hopeless and all we got to do is just bunker down until the world ends so Jesus can come back. It's terrible theology. I go through it many, many times in my classes, show you how the Bible actually doesn't say the things you've been taught to believe. And anyways, but go take my classes for that. But Dan, that's horrible theology, and you're absolutely 100% wrong on that. So again, there I just took away that excuse too. So why are you still dooming now? There's no end of the world, dude. Listen, everybody's going to jump on me on this now, but you're wrong. And your theology's bad. It's okay. It's okay. Your theology's bad. Everybody here, almost most everybody here in the Christian church was taught the Bible wrong about the end times. And I can prove it. I've done it 100 times. So go watch my classes. I break it down in detail with the Bible. So tribulation, there is no tribulation the way you think there is. So I can't get into it tonight, guys. It'll take me all night. I've done this so many times. I did an entire Bible series on it. Go to my playlist, Understanding the Whole Bible. You guys can hear all my answers to all these questions. And if you still disagree with me after watching that, I'd love to hear what you actually can give me, because I break down every verse, every prophecy. I break down the covenants. I do all of it because I believe every word of the Bible is real. I believe every word of the Bible is God-breathed. And I believe most Americans have been told terrible theology. So, somebody couldn't handle it and he's got to leave. That's okay. Go ahead. You can go believe your weak theology. Be sad. I know the Bible very well. I've studied it for 25 plus years. I traveled to Israel to study. I've studied it in Greek and Hebrew. How have you done that? Have you done all that? I spent way more time with the Bible probably than you ever have. So anyways, I don't need to toot my horn here. Go listen to my teaching. And if you can prove me wrong, then I'll listen to you, but you can't. So you just can't. I've yet to hear. I'll say it this way. Not one person who's ever taken my class has ever been able to prove me wrong. Not one. So I offer that challenge to you. If you think you can prove me wrong, go watch my class and try to prove me wrong. You can't, but you could try. But that's how confident I am in my theology. Go check it out. If you can prove me wrong, I'll listen. If you can give me a biblical argument that proves me wrong. So, but you can't. You just can't. I've done this a lot more than you guys have, but that's okay. That's okay. I understand. I used to believe those lies. I did. I was trapped in bad theology, and it was very hopeless and scary. And I'm so glad God set me free and showed me what the Bible really said. But it takes understanding the whole context of the Bible, not just trying to guess what these prophecies are going to mean someday. Anyways, I don't have time for this. We got other stuff to get to, but love you guys, love Jesus, and we can agree to disagree, but I would love you guys to go, if you do have questions, go watch my teaching, and if you can prove me wrong, then bring an argument. Bring a real argument. Don't just poo-poo and say, this is dumb, I gotta leave. That's pretty pathetic. Anyways, one of the many with the $10 donation, thank you so much for supporting the channel, says, DJT is leading the free men and overthrowing the empire. Everything he's done thus far is proof. He's secured the oil of the world. He controls the flow of oil, controls the world. I would absolutely say you're probably right about that. I think that's great. So, let's see. All right. I can't do the Bible stuff right now, guys, because that'll just take all night. And every time I get into this, people challenge me, and then they still can't prove me wrong, but they get very mad. I really make religious people mad, which that makes me very happy, because you know who made religious people more mad than anyone else who's ever lived? Jesus. Jesus didn't spend time arguing with Roman officials. He didn't spend time telling people like, hey, stop getting drunk, or, don't get me wrong. Sin is sin, and Jesus is clear. Sin is sin. Go and sin no more. But that wasn't his point. He wasn't standing on the corner saying, repent for the end is near. No, he said, repent for the kingdom is near. Never said the end was near. And so anyways, he wasn't religious. Jesus is the least religious person who's ever lived. He hates religion. And religion is any dogma created by man that they trust and have a relationship with over God. That's why Jesus and God hated the law. They only gave the law to the Israelites because the Israelites rejected God's offer to become priests in Exodus 19. So God gave them a law instead. And they were like, we're too scared of you. We just want to talk to Moses. Give us a law. So he did. And anyways, so God's always been about relationship, and he perfects us through relationship. We overcome sin through relationship with him, and learning about him. But God, he hates religious people. The Pharisees were Jesus's number one enemy, and it's because as Jesus would say to their face is like, you should know, but you should know all this, but your father is the father of lies, Beelzebub. And he said that to the people who were the religious leaders of the day. So just remember that. Just remember that when you get really religious. Because you're being pharisaical. Anyways, okay. God bless you guys. I still love you. And despite our disagreements, but don't be weak. Bring a real argument. Don't just call somebody stupid. Because I can back up everything I say. Everything I say. And if I find a better argument, I'll believe it. But I can back up everything I say. I don't talk about stuff I can't back up. So, okay. Somebody asked why the king is visiting Congress. I think it's just, he's in town, so he might as well go through all the state. I don't think it's going to be anything to worry about. So I'll say that. Okay. Dan says you're definitely not stupid. Thank you for that, Dan. I don't think you're stupid either. I really don't. I think a lot of smart people have terrible beliefs. I'm one of them. I used to have so many bad beliefs. I probably still do. And the thing is, when you have a bad belief, you don't know it. And so you have to unlearn it over time because our beliefs get embedded in us at some point, and it takes a while to overcome them. But, so we all have had bad beliefs. Most of us still do. And, it doesn't mean you're not smart. It doesn't mean you're not smart. It just means you didn't get the other information yet and hasn't sunk in yet. Look at the guy who just went after Trump to shoot him. He was Caltech. And listen, most colleges are junk now. Caltech's not one of them. Just like, what's it called? The tech school in MIT. MIT is not a junk school. They're still good schools. And, he was a smart guy and he believed some crazy stuff. So anyways, okay, this will be the last question I ask for now until I get done with the next segment, but it's a good question. It says, what is the reason the administration doesn't talk about the war with City of London and the globalists? Well, they do. Trump called them the deep state. And you can't say City of London because what are the American people who have no idea what any of this stuff's going to say? If our president came in and was like, I'm going after City of London, they'd be like, why? UK is our special relationship. You can't just say that to regular people. The president of the United States can't just throw that out there to, let's say 30 million people in America kind of understand a little bit about City of London. That's less than 10% of America. So you think 300 million people, you can just throw that out there? You can't. You just can't. So he called it the deep state. He told us what he's doing. So what I consider my thoughts regarding the my thoughts on the Bible, opinion or fact. Everything I have, every one of my opinions about the Bible comes from fact or the Bible itself. So in that sense, I would say how I read the Bible, but I do think it's fact. It's like you're looking at facts. Say if you're looking at a statistic and you see, I look at this huge report and I'm like, wow, this is telling me a lot. It's all facts, right? And I'm like, it says this, and interesting. And then somebody else comes along and sees a report and they see one statistic and they're just like, oh, wow, this is what this report's about. And they don't look at the whole rest of it. And they're like, this is my argument. And you're like, okay, well, both of our arguments are based on fact, right? But some of us, that person has more knowledge of those facts than the other person who just has the one fact that they made their whole thing. And most people accept the Bible that they've been taught since they were young. And they've read the Bible that way ever since. And they never thought to think like, am I reading the Bible wrong? Like some of the Bible's obvious, right? Don't get me wrong. A lot of it's obvious. But when you get into prophecy, when you get into covenants and you don't understand those things, it leaves major aspects of the Bible understanding off the radar. And 99% of Christians do not understand the covenants and do not understand how to interpret prophecy. 99%. And I've done the work on that. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There's people who understand it better than I do. But I've done the work. And so I'm in the 1% who understand a lot of it. And I'm still learning every day. Don't get me wrong. Nobody understands all of it. I'm not saying I'm the smartest man alive. I'm not saying I'm God. But I will tell you, I've done the work to be in the 1%. And so, and I have yet to, like, other than some people I've met, but when I go into churches, when I debate this stuff, when people bring it to me, I've yet to meet anybody who's done the work I've done. The people I've met that have done the work I've done, I learn from them. But again, I've said this many times. I said it tonight. Not one person who has seen my argument has been able to disprove it. But anyways, okay, I just keep going on. All right, guys, moving on. Somebody says, I thought this was a political channel. Dude, politics and religion are embedded in each other. We can't have good politics without Christianity. We can't have good politics without understanding God. Everything stems from that. I'm sorry. I'm a Christian. I believe that. I believe Jesus is real. I've encountered him. I've met God. I've heard God. God's led me in many places. I know without a shadow of a doubt God's real. And so I don't do my politics without God involved. Let me put it that way. Okay. So if you think this is just a political channel, well, yeah, it is a political channel. It's a political channel with kingdom revelation in it. I will always wear my faith on my sleeve because I can't separate it from who I am. My faith is like air. It's how I see everything. It's how I breathe everything. So I'm just saying, like, you can't tell me, there's a political channel and not have me in that. It's all tied together. My entire worldview is built on hope, faith, expectancy, and God being good, and all of that, and a biblical worldview. And so everything I see, everything I talk about comes from that worldview. I can't separate the two. So if you don't want me to if you don't like that, then this isn't the channel for you, okay? But this channel will be a channel I always faith will always be a big part of this channel. So if you don't like it, it's cool. There's other places. All right. But God is, I can't separate the two. I'm passionate about this country. I'm passionate about what Trump's doing. I'm passionate about the future of this, my children, and it's all because of my faith. Okay. It's all because of my faith. So, yeah, so it is a political channel, at least as I do politics. Okay. Let's get into this, guys. So, this is a crazy story. All right. Todd Blanche today said the Secret Service agents fired 5 shots at Cole Allen, but didn't hit him, and might have been struck one of their own. That might have been friendly fire that hit the Secret Service agent. So not only is that crazy, this is insane. The agents subdued him only after he tripped and fell. So that tells us right there that he only failed because of his own incompetence. Or, you could say he was divinely protected. Trump's divinely protected, which I do believe. Prayer works. But this is why we pray, guys. Because at this point, like, either these agents suck or maybe they were part of it, letting him in. I mean, I just, it's too crazy. At Butler, they didn't check the roof. She got a clean shot at Trump. He missed. Thank God, because Trump turned his head. Now this shooter runs through, can't get shot down, and instead he trips, and that's how they caught him? That's insane. So, I mean, this is great. Somebody posted this. It's like, this is Trump with his guardian angel. But I'm telling you, guys, this is unbelievable stuff that we're seeing here. God's hand is all over Trump. This is such a crazy story. And it just reminded me of this story, which I wanted to share in case you've never seen it. But this is from a while back, even though it's being reposted, but these witches on Reddit were trying to curse Trump, but were upset there's a protection around him. So here they are writing here. Some other witches have mentioned doing spells directly against Trump are not as effective with my hope because he has some kind of protection around him. A freezer spell against Project 25 would be useful. They were trying to figure out how to stop Trump, but they couldn't because they could see witches, New Agers, all that. They are tapped into the spirit realm more than Christians are, which is to our detriment, honestly. We need to learn how to be in the spiritual realm from a Christian way. But too many of us just shut it off, and we shouldn't. But they understand spiritual realities. And the fact that they were saying he's got a protection around him is awesome. That's freaking awesome. And then you think of how this guy fell on his way in. The Secret Service didn't stop him. You think of Trump's head at Butler turning just in time. I mean, man, it really does seem that like Trump is divinely protected. I think the I think the evidence is pretty overwhelming at this point, in my humble opinion. And then on top of this, we find out, DHS runs Secret Service and they're not being paid. So that's another thing to it. Because if you're not, listen, I don't care who you are. If you haven't been paid, even if you know it's coming, right? If you haven't paid for months, that's discouraging. So our Secret Service is now discouraged, uninspired. It's a lot harder to show up to work every day when you just don't know when this is going to happen. Maybe you're not sleeping as well. Maybe your bills are overdue. I'm sure there's some like help coming into this from Trump and others from a private way, but still, you're missing your paycheck. Who knows what these people's needs are, where they're at. Most people live paycheck to paycheck in America. Government workers are no different. It's not like the Secret Service are making bank, especially living in D.C. But so they're going unpaid. They put work expenses on credit cards, and while Trump's they're trying to assassinate him, all by Democrats, of course, holding up this funding. So, I mean, it just, what a perfect storm. It's almost like they want this to happen. Not only do they want our borders defunded, TSA defunded, it's like all the protection in our country and even in our politics, all defunded right now. So that doesn't help, and so just crazy stuff. And then there's this. So you guys remember Thomas Crooks was in a commercial. Ryan Ruth was the guy caught at the golf course. He was in Newsweek about getting mercenaries to fight Ukraine. And Cole Allen was in a news report now, the new guy, in 2017. So he says, what is MK Ultra? What's Project Artichoke? But what are the odds all these guys were in major media?
The potential to enrich the lives of seniors. 14 different tech startups got to present to over 350 people in the hopes of getting their projects into some sort of senior health facilities. College student
there's Cole Allen. That was him at the beginning right here.
Allen
with
developed
the wheelchair.
a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
And then the Matthew Crooks commercial, Brian Ruth, just wild. I mean, this is how, it starts to make sense when there's that post out there from years ago on X that had his name. Because, wonder how long they've been training these guys. So, again, this is why we pray, guys, because there is a massive, massive conspiracy behind closed doors to try to kill Trump. And they failed. In my opinion, they're getting sloppier. And that tells me panic. I just don't think it was any coincidence this happened 2 days before the king arrived. Because guess what? If one person had been shot, one person, say a cabinet member, if one had been shot, it would have been an excuse for the king to not show up. And who knows, that maybe they run with it a little while. They think they got a little momentum on their side. Who knows? Right? But it didn't happen. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed, thank God. The guy's busted, not injured, not killed, so now they can interrogate him. And his manifesto's out exposing the left. And now the king's here. And likely It's likely not going well for him behind the scenes, would be my guess. The Democrats didn't wait 2 days. They're already just ramping up the craziness.
As it relates to anything that has been said, certainly as it relates to the comment related to maximum warfare everywhere, all the time, in connection with the redistricting battle that Republicans launched. I stand by it. You can continue to criticize me.
So Timu Obama here, he's the leader of the Democrats in the House, and he's calling for maximum warfare everywhere, saying he stands by that. So, they're not going to stop. 44% of those very liberal believe violence often necessary to create social change. Tim Pool calls it out great here. It says left pays fake Nazis to go to conservative events so they can lie in stats claiming Charlie Kirk and Klansmen are the same thing. Democrats campaign with Hassan. That's all you need to know. Hassan Piker, who's outright calling for assassination. But thankfully, some good is coming out of this. The Republicans are now galvanizing and getting around the fact of like passing a bill to make it so that the ballroom can no longer be postponed. And this is a good thing because Trump is building this ballroom as like a military bunker, so he can host and future presidents can host with all their own security, completely secure, and none of this will happen anymore at these events because they'll all be held at this ballroom. It's pretty incredible what they're building. And now after this weekend, we saw it again. So, and I don't think this was staged. There's a whole psyop going on. This was staged so they could get the ballroom. I don't think so. I don't think Trump feels that need. But these people are stupid in how they do these things because when they fail, it always backfires on them. It always does. So we should see this get done soon. I think it's going to be amazing. And again, this is just another example of Trump fortifying our future. A lot of what he's doing, when we're like, what is he doing? Why does it not make sense? Who cares? If you actually like look ahead and put it together, you're like, oh, okay, I can see that. It's fortifying our future. That's almost everything Trump's doing. And guess what? To build a solid foundation for the future, it takes time. So sometimes Trump isn't moving as fast as we think, even though he's moving faster than we've ever seen a president move ever. Well, some of these things take time. And so we'll get this, and that'll ultimately be a good thing. But back to this. I mean, in the meantime, just Trump, man, we just got to keep praying because God's hand is on this man. He's kept protecting him, and I believe he'll continue to, so long as the people pray, because prayer works. So incredible stuff. All right. Real quick, I want to get into the grifter report. It's a little shorter tonight. Not a whole lot going on, but there is some interesting things here. So Alex freaking Jones, this guy just can't help himself. After the shooting, after the other day, his very first video was it a staged? Did Trump stage the assassination attempt on his life? Well, tonight he's doing a report about a Fox reporter saying Carolyn Leavitt's husband warned, "You need to be very safe," as the White House Correspondents' Dinner was starting before the failed assassination attempt. As if Carolyn Leavitt's husband was in on it, because that is what the implication here is. It says, as the reporter was relaying the story live on Fox, her phone suddenly cut out. So did Leavitt's husband have prior knowledge of the attack, or was he reminding her to watch her back? What do you think, Alex? I mean, this is so flipping ridiculous. I'm sick of this guy. I'm so sick of this guy. It's like, I used to make fun of him for always saying World War III to get people watching every night. And he'd say some dumb stuff and I'd mock it, but it was all mostly in good fun. Now he just drives me crazy. He is going, it's getting pathetic. His narratives now are pathetic. This isn't a story. You'd have to be an absolute moron to think Carolyn Leavitt and her husband are in on this. There's just, don't get me started. I just want to rant and rave. I want to be Alex Jones. The gay frogs. And Carolyn Leavitt said they did exist and then she had to kill Trump. All tonight at 9:00. Watch live on X. It's insanity. This stuff is so crazy. So, but he's getting worse and worse. And speaking of getting worse, Tucker today. No, Tucker hasn't even addressed the assassination attempt because Tucker is just now trying to just undermine everything that MAGA stands for, everything that Trump is doing well. He's just trying to undermine it all by bringing these guests on and acting as if they are the lords of knowledge who actually understand how the world works and everybody else is lying to you. Well, they say the craziest stuff. So he had this CIA officer, John Kirikow, on today on why Iran is far from the most dangerous threat this country faces. So this whole thing was just a let's lie about Iran and how it's actually a good, decent country or not that bad. And here's the worst part. An hour in, Tucker and his Russian paid guest, which I can't confirm that, but that's funny, say that Iran is not a theocracy and one of the most liberal countries in the entire region. Oh my God. So, okay, fine. Let's break this down. Can you make the argument it's not a theocracy? If you believe the IRGC is truly in charge of the country, sure, make that argument. That's fine. But if you could say this, one of the most liberal countries in the region, that, my friends, there's just no arguing that. Iran is one of the most oppressively strict Islamic countries in how they treat their people of any of the countries in the region. They are awful. They believe in child marriage, like the most disgusting parts of Islam they use against their own people. And so Tucker, one of the few that know this fact, and then the maniacal, oh, I can't do it tonight. My voice is a little sore, but the maniacal laughter meant to signal the audience, doubting him makes you laughable. So Tucker is just getting worse and worse. And it's sad, you know, I mean, and I know every night I say this, I get a bunch of people who are like, oh, you didn't see that Tucker was a shill? Man, I've known that for 10 years. Okay, good for you. Bully for you, friend. I'm sure you've never, ever liked somebody who is wrong about anything because you're perfect in your discernment. Good for you. Bully for you. Cheers. Golf clap. Listen, we all have followed somebody at one point that we end up being wrong about, okay? Or that surprises us later and changes. Tucker was that for me. I really, really liked his stuff from like 2023 through 2024. And anyways, but now he's an insane person. He's just an insane person. And I don't understand how anybody can make this argument and expect anybody to believe him. But the problem is he's still one of the most watched shows out there. Millions of people watch this. And that's, you know, it's terrifying to think there's people eating this up. But, you know, what we got to hope is it's just the people already lost. So it doesn't change it doesn't change the, you know, the size of the teams at all. But Steven Crowder today had an excellent rant on all this, especially because of what happened with Erica Kirk the other day when she's crying and everybody saying that she was just doing it for the cameras, which I think is one of the most vile, despicable things I've heard from these grifters. But anyways, I am actually going to play this whole clip. I don't usually play these longer clips, but I'm going to play this one from Steven. So it's so good. So enjoy.
By the way, millions of people believe this. Tens of millions of people are buying this line of bullshit. And saying, you must, who's paid you if you don't think that this, is the sign of the beast? If you don't think that Israel was involved with this shooting, if you don't think that Caroline Leavitt was in on it. And then that brings us to real people are affected by this. The widow of the last guy who was actually assassinated, Erica Kirk, people take this out to go, look, she's fake crying because she looked at a camera? I hate armchair psychologists as much as the next person. Everything's a narcissist. Everything's trauma. I would wager that someone who watched their husband be publicly, brutally assassinated, by the way, with an unbelievable amount of blood, the bad actors out there are hoping that you don't see the original tape, which I watched in real time too. I'm willing to bet that someone who's been through that and then is in a room with actual gunfire, probably a pretty traumatic event. And if I was walking through a hallway trying to get away from what could be an active shooter and someone had a camera in my face, I might glance at it too. Does that mean that Israel did it? Or I'm in cahoots with them? Also, learn your fucking time zones, people, Google Analytics experts. Didn't we learn from Candace Owens and the Egyptian plane thing? What's the other one? This is all staged to get a new ballroom? What? It's the first thing I thought when this happened. It's the logical conclusion. That's why they wanted to build a new ballroom. Stephen Miller used his wife as a human shield. This is what people are talking about. This is what people out there, and some people, millions of people, believe that Mossad is building something under the proposed ballroom. When we live in an actual era where there is a direct line from the left's rhetoric, their calls to action, their worldview, and these attacks. Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump 1, 2, anyone in this space who lives it, myself included, that should be the primary conversation while we collect facts. And these Marxist right-wingers telling you to stay home, telling you there's no difference between the left or the right, they just keep screwing it up. And they're fostering and hoping that there is a low IQ base. That doesn't mean the American people at large. That means the people who, without any information, gobble up the idea that Israel, Iran, Caroline Levitt, or Erica Kirk had something to do with this because they saw a meme that can be fact-checked in 2 seconds. You can say whatever you want. That's the great era of social media, I guess. That's one of the pluses. Thank God for X. Thank God for Rumble. So don't misconstrue what I'm about to say as meaning you don't have the right to speak because people did that online too. What I am telling you is that you need to be responsible when real people are involved.
Thank you, Steven. Those are like words that could have come out of my mouth. I just want to hug him. I just want to be like, thank you for saying exactly what I'm thinking all the time. This stuff, man, I just, he's one of the good ones. I've come to the conclusion, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe in 6 months, Steven will go nuts. But he's been legit. And so, in this world of fake influencers, I still will throw my hat in with Steven Crowder and say I can trust him. For the most part. And that, we've all gone through some weird stuff with Crowder. He had that weird thing with his wife, but he's absolutely right. I mean, these are real people involved, and it's just crazy. It's crazy what we see, the way people are willing to treat these people. And I go back to when Candace first started doing her exposés on the Charlie Kirk stuff. And it was like when she first started, I was like, I don't necessarily have a problem with her questions. I have a problem with her doing it only 2 weeks after he's been dead. 2 weeks when people are still grieving. 2 weeks where a wife and little children are without their husband and father. 2 weeks. No time for an investigation to be conducted. No time to see how the court trial went. Just immediately. And that told me right then and there she was a fraud. Because that's clicks and views, people. Clicks and views. When you immediately start on something like that, when it's people's lives involved and you are a major voice, like you'll never see me do something like that. It's disgusting. It's like I just want to be an honorable person. That doesn't mean I won't deep dive stuff. It doesn't mean I don't question things. It doesn't mean I won't look into them. But there's a time and a place, and that was like the number one tell to me that Candace was a fraud, is that this friend. You know how I would feel if one of my best friends died? I would give time to the authorities. I would be like 2 weeks later. Do I think I'd really be challenging the people that were in charge of figuring this out? I think I'd be 2 weeks later starting to question his organization that he built and he loved and he lived for, that I would start questioning his wife 2 weeks later? No, that's pathetically disgusting. And that, my friends, it's like honor. Character does tell a lot. And I got to tell you right now, most people become famous or big without building character first. They're willing to sell their souls. They're willing to take deals. They're willing to do stuff that's immoral or unethical to get ahead, and they will just do it. Candace Owens is one of those people. And other people it's like when it comes to the political space, 99 times out of 100, you cannot trust the younger people who are becoming famous because they're being platformed. You don't just pop up out of nowhere. I'm not saying some of them aren't organic, but it's very few. But the older guys or gals who grinded, who worked for it, who built a career out of it, who were okay with being in the shadows for dozens of years, building up character, that's somebody you're much more likely to be able to trust. Much more likely to be able to trust. And so, I saw, anyways, that's a big thing for me. It's a big thing for me is what's your character on handling these things. And Crowder is absolutely right. You handle it with responsibility and then you'll, it's just, it's better for you, in general, but eventually the people without it will fall. And we're seeing that a lot right now. So it is finally turning on them. This is excellent right here. Bad Hombre shares. Last month I predicted they start eating their own. Well, here's Dave Smith fighting with Dan Bilzerian, which makes me so happy. So the anti-Israel crowd is starting to eat each other alive. And this is great. When you just spew hate all the time, when you spew Israel is evil, Jews are evil, everything's a conspiracy, bros controlled. When you're one of those people, eventually you're going to get eaten too. And it's going back and forth. So it just makes me very happy to see that this is starting to happen to them. And then, sometimes we forget that the biggest grifters of all are the people we voted into office. And here's a clip of the very, I don't even know the word to use for her, but Ilhan Omar, lecturing us about something. And if you haven't seen this clip, you're in for a treat.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI. The last time...
Oh my God. It's just too perfect. It's too perfect. It just... How pathetic these people are, but we got to hear it again, right?
Or German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
Wait, you guys see when she gets to it, because her brain, her deep, like something inside her is telling her there wasn't a World War XI, but she's like Ron Burgundy. She's just reading the script. And she doesn't know how to read it. You can see when she pauses. There's something inside her that knows it's not right, but she's like, but that's what it says. So I'm going to trust it. I mean, listen to the pause.
To detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
Oh my God. It's amazing. It's too good. World War XI. Oh man, I'm sorry. That brought me so much joy. I had to share it. There's nothing better than when these people show just how stupid they are. And here's another good example of this crazy woman who purple-haired Rosa DeLauro. She's going after Lee Zeldin, and this is what we're dealing with. The people. These are our people in Congress. Just watch this little exchange here. This is very, very telling of who they're sending up there.
When climate change is flooding our streets, poisoning our air, driving up healthcare and disaster costs, how can the EPA justify abandoning that duty to protect Americans to appease polluters under the false flag of economic growth?
Following the law, Section 202 of the Clean Air Act, where does it say anything about fighting global climate change? Loper Bright, Supreme Court case, you're familiar with it?
No, I maybe others are. I'm not, but let me ask you.
But that's really important. As a member of Congress, Loper Bright says that we as an agency don't have the authority to get creative if Section 202 of the Clean Air Act.
No, but you don't have, excuse me, you do not have the right to
was
say
actually
climate
answering your
change
questions.
does not exist, that it's a hoax, and that's where this administration
I
is
understand
coming
you're
from.
upset that you don't know what Loper Bright is. Do you know what the major
You know,
policies doctrine is?
I'm upset because
You know what the
this
major
is-
policies doctrine is?
You know what, let me just
You're a
say this
member
to
of
you.
Congress. You should know.
Well, you have moved from someone who defended the environment to all of a sudden
Being very
making
defensive
a-
about not knowing the two biggest landmark Supreme Court cases of the last
and
year
you are
with
very,
regards to your
you
question.
are very defensive about changing your policy and your positions with regard to the environment. Now,
Okay.
you just
She
tell
looks
want
me-
me
like
to tell you
Gargamel
what the
with a
two
wig.
biggest
No, I
Supreme
want
Court
you to
cases
tell
are of the
me.
last
You
few
know what I'm talking about. Anyways, it goes on and on. These people are so stupid. The left is so stupid. They get elected. They know nothing. Okay, they get elected. Obviously, not every single one of them. Some of them are like accomplished lawyers and they believe lies, but they know how to speak about them smartly. But people like this, with their purple hair at age 90, I mean, come on. But these morons, they get up there, they just spew talking points, and they're in districts where all the people who are there are also morons. They're all probably like, college educated morons. And they're just like, oh yeah, well, we'll never vote Republican, so we'll put this person in. And they just get up there and then they get their power and then they actually have real arguments and it just destroys them. So anyways, just, I'm sorry. I'm a weirdo. I like watching congressional hearings. I think they're fascinating and hilarious. But anyways, this is what's out there, guys. This is what's out there. And, the grifters are grifting. They're in our politics. It's pathetic. It's sad. It's scary. But we'll always have World War XI.
Detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
I'm just going to go to sleep tonight listening to that on loop. Okay. All right, guys, before I end here, just a couple of small stories just run through, and then I'm going to spend some time in the chat before we call it a night. But just a couple interesting things here. Trump came out pushing the Save America Act hard again today. John Thune came out and said he doesn't think there's time to get a standing filibuster done. This guy is deep state. He is trying to hold it up. He knows that if he's hoping that he can hold off and they can get the Senate back to a uniparty Senate when Trump leaves. That's what he's doing. That's his mission right now. It's pathetic. It's not going to work, but Trump's going to bring him down with MAGA. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to happen. But he's the whole reason this is being held up right now. Texas won its redistricting case before the Supreme Court. So now we just got +4 seats in Texas, and Florida announced they're doing +4 today as well. So that's good news. And also Virginia might still be struck down. So huge news for the Republicans towards the midterms. And then finally, Small Business Association got collections on $22 billion, and anti-Trump fraud task force just soaking up that money. All of this adds up, guys. They're just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until we recoup what could be up to $2 trillion is believed. So that would eliminate our national debt year to year, which means we could grow out of our debt if we stop the bleeding. So amazing stuff, things we never thought we'd see happen, things that are happening left and right, happening all over, light speed, this administration moves. If you're paying attention, if you're only focused on the one thing you want to happen, yeah, you might get upset because it might not happen right away. But if you're actually looking at everything they're doing and taking it all as a whole, it's hard to argue that they're doing incredible stuff. So, all right, guys, please take a second, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't yet. If you're enjoying the channel, I appreciate you guys. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything directed at me that I can see. Sometimes a tag is hard to see on this screen. So looking to see if anybody tagged me in anything. I didn't see any super chats, and that's fine. But does make it harder to find what to answer. So let me look here. Doc says if we eliminate the fraud, the income tax could actually be abolished. That is absolutely true. But it's not just the fraud. We have to also make sure the tariffs are implemented, which Trump is working on the way the Supreme Court told him he could do it. Those should be fully implemented in the next 6 months to a year. And on top of that, we probably would have to go to some kind of sales tax. That's what they did in the 1800s before there was an income tax. There was a duty on a lot of stuff. Not duty. That's only on imports. But there was basically a sales tax. They didn't call it that. I can't remember what they called it, but it was basically a sales tax, and tariffs funded the government. And Trump wants us to get back to that. He's already said it. So, what happened to Vance being able to go over Thune? I don't know the exact details on that. I'd have to go look at it again, but there is something to it about him being able, the actual leader of the Senate. So maybe they're holding their cards on that one. Maybe they just haven't done it yet. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But it's pretty clear when Trump keeps doing this, calling for something, and it's not getting done. I think what he's doing is he's making sure that, number one, this accomplishes keeping it in front of the base, because we can get distracted. So much is happening. So a couple months go by, nobody talks about the SAVE Act. Most Americans will move on, even in the base. So this re-energizes the base, gets them focused on it again, puts pressure back on the Senate. Trump keeps pushing the pressure, and the base gets mad enough that this isn't happening. That's when you could bring Vance in. If that's a possibility. Yep, Democrats want to raise our tax with Kamala. Absolutely, I know, and they said it was only going to be the rich pay. But Doc says international law is as real as trans kids and vegan dogs. Right. Want to be a cowboy says I care more about property tax and income tax. That must be because you're in a state that doesn't have income tax. Or you don't, or maybe you don't make enough to pay income tax yet. Trust me, if you were doing well enough to pay income tax, or maybe you just have a really expensive house. I don't know where you live, but most people who say, listen, I hate property tax too. You should not be taxed on a purchase for the rest of your life. That's insane. Property tax is evil. I agree with you. I listen. Get rid of both. That's where I'm at. Get rid of both. What can be done to stop giving birth certificates to illegals? Well, that's not going to stop unless the Supreme Court knocks it down. Unfortunately, that is something that the way it's written in the Constitution, it can go either way. And unfortunately, if they, I have seen that Trump has some plans on how to limit it, but he's not going to be able to stop it completely. He's not going to be able to stop it completely. Okay. Let me see here if I see anything else interesting. Anyone remember crazy Congress Al Green was speculating about the island of Guam capsizing? Oh, I don't remember that. No, that's funny. I'll have to look that up. That sounds hilarious. World War XI was horrible, says K-Flex. That's awesome. All right. Well, I'm not seeing too much. I'm sorry, guys. Andrew Bronco had a video on what? On property tax? I do think dual citizenship should be gone. We should ban that. I think we could. Anchor babies are terrible. It's evil. It's honestly a national security threat, and there's no way the founders could have seen us doing what's happening now. But again, the way it's written in the Constitution, the Supreme Court could uphold it, and it'd be hard to argue. Can we stop giving them birth certificates? That's different from birthright citizenship. I guess the way I look at it is birth certificate is proof of being born here. So I don't know how you separate the two, but maybe you could. Anyways, all right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. It's late. It's over 2 hours, and we're going to do another show tomorrow. But I have an exciting announcement to make for those of you who are still here, who have stuck out this show. In 2 weeks, things are going to shift here. I'm moving to being self-employed, and which means I'm going to have a lot more time in the day to do this show. And I'm making a big change. I'm taking a risk, but I believe it's at the point where I can do so. So I'm going to be putting a lot more work into this show and the membership. I'm going to start building out classes again. I'm planning to have more guests. And I also plan to not have live shows in the middle of the night anymore when, you guys don't know when I'm coming on. I'm going to be actually able to schedule my lives. And the only thing I don't know yet is if I'm going to do my lives in the, say, early afternoon or morning. I don't want to do nights anymore. I'll say that. I've done this for over 3 years, and I love hanging. And I know you night owls are going to be very sad about this, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to do these late nights anymore. I finally want to get rested, but it's going to make the show much better. It's going to make the research better. It's going to mean I have more energy. I'm going to be able to build out segments better. Everything will get better about my channel in 2 weeks. Well, not immediately in 2 weeks, but from 2 weeks forward, everything will get better because I will have time. So I'm very excited about this. I really am. I'm going to build out a lot. So again, I'm going to be transitioning. We're going to try to figure out what the best time is for as many people as possible. And the rest of you can just catch replays and catch me when you can. But that's the plan. So I don't know what it all is going to look like. All I know is it'll be better. And my plan is to have a set time every day. And that's when I will do it. So that you guys can know that I'll show up at a certain time. The rest of the channel will be similar. I'll still do clips, but I'll also be able to react to news immediately, stuff like that. So I'm really excited about this. I don't know whether or not this channel will be the only thing I'm doing. And it's not just a channel. I mean, I'm building out the membership where, like I said, I'll be doing classes, stuff like that. It'll grow. So, Geronimo says, if you have international viewers, please consider the time difference. Listen, I do have international viewers, but we're talking it's like less than 10% of my viewers. I can't determine the schedule for them, unfortunately. And I love you guys. UK, Scotland. I've had people from Israel watching, had somebody from Russia the other night. I do love you guys. I appreciate you. But look, I'm an American. One of the reasons I'm making this decision is because for over 3 years now, I have been burning the midnight oil. I work. I get up early, work all day, spend time with my family in the evenings, put the kids to bed, and then and hang out with my wife for a bit, and then I do these lives. So when on the nights I do lives, I sleep maybe 5, maybe 6 hours a night, 4 or 5 nights a week, and I'm tired. So I'm going to get my nights back, and it's just going to make everything better, okay? But it will be a shift. It will be a shift, and we'll see how that is. And then if my channel continues to grow at the way it's been growing, then I will be able to devote full attention to it. I'm just not sure what that'll look like yet. What I'll also say though is that for those who are members or been thinking about becoming members, membership's about to get a lot better. I will have regular members lives, and then I'll be building out, like I said, classes. That'll be at an upper tier, but there's just going to be a lot more content I'm going to be creating, and I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited to not be tired every night. So, thank you, Kev. I see what you're offering. Listen, everybody who if you want to do stuff like that, hit me up in the on Discord, okay? But anyways, I'm excited. So we'll see what happens. We'll see when this is going to work. But yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. So, let's see. Seth says, as a self-employed person, you won't stop building business. Don't get too overwhelmed. Well, I won't. I know. I'm never going to stop building. I have lots of ideas, but the point is that I'm going to be doing building it'll be all me that I get to create. And this is like a dream come true. So I'm finally taking the risk. It just worked out perfect timing between me and where I was at in my position at the company. And so my wife and I, through a lot of prayer and thoughts, decided, you know what, we're going to take the leap. And so member on Patreon, Seth, that's where the membership really lives. The YouTube, if you're a member on YouTube, you will still get access to every member's live, but that's it. Okay, you won't get Discord, you won't get classes. That's all on the Patreon. So the Patreon is the better place to be. Okay. Don't get too crazy on monetization. Listen, the ads you guys get on my show now, it's never going to change. I'm not going to add more ads. If I do a sponsorship, it'll be very small. I'm never going to be that person who does 5-minute commercials in the middle of my show. I don't care about that. There's way too many easy ways to monetize. I don't need to do that. So I don't want to do that. Okay. So I'm not going to change all that. Listen, if I was trying to milk this channel for all it's worth, I can't control exactly when the ads show up, but I can determine if they pump more at you. I can say limit the ads or no ads. I do a little bit of ads. I mean, I got to make something for doing this. It's a lot of time and effort, but I limit the ads. I could pump this channel full of ads, and I don't want to be a person who you get an ad every 4 or 5 minutes. That's ridiculous. So I will continue building the way I've already built. I've been doing this for almost 3.5 years now. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly how I do my thing. I'm only going to do it better from now on. That's my promise to you guys. And you guys can determine how you want to support the channel, be a part of it, watch, whatever. That's all your determination. And I'm just going to try to make a product you guys want to be a part of. And if I can do that, then that's good enough. So anyways, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Settle down, let the dude make a living, get paid for his time. Was somebody mad at me for having a paid membership? I didn't see that. Somebody, man, I love when, and I'm not saying I don't see that comment, so I'm not calling out anybody here, but I'm just gonna say in general, I love when some people think everything should just be free all the time. It's crazy to me. I'm like, the worker deserves his wages, and people who create deserve something, So I didn't think you were, K-Flex, I didn't take your comment as like mad at me for monetizing. I didn't take it that way. But anyways, listen, guys, you guys have been the best. I love this community. I do. I love it. I really mean that. It is, it's special to me. Many of you have been here for 2-3 years with me when I was streaming to 25 people, 50 people, 100 people, when I had a little push and then YouTube shadow banned me and my channel barely survived for over a year. You guys stuck with me. And I just feel like we've built something special. The community will always be a big part of this channel. I'll never just be somebody who talks at you guys. And I'm going to try to figure out ways to conclude the community even more. So listen, but you guys stuck with me through it, and I don't forget that. And so this channel is never going to just be about me. That's not who I am. I want to do it. I want to support my family. Obviously those things matter a lot. My family will always come before you guys. And so I have to make something, but I'm going to do my best to make a product worth supporting. Okay. And so, yeah, just your views, your likes, your subscribes. If that's all you can give me, that's great. Please do it. Please like and subscribe. That helps. If you want to join the membership and support the channel, obviously that helps a little bit more. But whatever it is, whatever is your desire to be a part of this, it's great. And, but I'm not going to change. I'm just going to do it better. And so if you guys already like it, then you're just going to like it more. And that's what I can tell you, because you guys have been getting my fumes every night. This is me on fumes every night. I've already given to my job. I've already given to my wife and kids. They all get the best of me. You guys have gotten my fumes at night. So imagine what you get when you get my energy. I better not talk this up too big. Maybe I'm not going to be any different. You guys are going to be like, wow, this is not what we were told. But listen, I mean, I just, but for real, it'll be nice. I'm going to sleep. I don't know what sleep's like anymore. I'm going to sleep again. I can't wait to know what sleep's like. I'll lose some weight, I was going to, but I will say this. It's all been worth it. Okay. It's all been worth it. The late nights, the times when my channel was dying, the times when my channel wasn't growing at all. It's all been worth it. It's all been worth it to get to this point, to see the growth, to see YouTube finally lift it off me and just say, like, let's see what you can do. And so now I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to be doing some other business stuff, as well during, obviously until there comes a time when I can go 100% all in on this. Not there yet, but very close. But anyways, I just want to thank you guys for making this channel legit. And for those of you who've stuck through before I really knew what I was doing, you guys are awesome. So I really appreciate you guys. D6 says, you're one resilient dude. Well, let me just speak to that for a second. I'm not special. Okay. But what I am is, I'm passionate, and I care. Like, this stuff matters to me. The reason I show up every night, it's because I want our country to be better, and I want people to see what I'm seeing so they can be excited and inspired to be a part of that. That's why I show up every night. And on top of that, like, I've been through a lot, and I'm not like saying like third world country horrific crap. None of us, well, not none of us, 99% of us Americans don't know what that's like. So I'm not comparing myself to that. But, I've lost most of my family and got through that, and God is good to me through that. And it just gives you perspective, right? I was a knucklehead, almost lost my wife and my kids because I was just I just went into a deep, dark depression for a couple years, and I had to become a man. I had to grow out of that and learn how to overcome that and save my marriage. And now it's the best it's ever been. And 17 plus years, passionate, wonderful, love it. Great marriage. And, just being a dad to my 6 kids. But I've had to learn a lot. I've been through a lot of lows in my life and come out of it. And just God's been good through all of it. And, when you go through all that stuff, it's like, if my worst thing is like, I'm tired, I'm sorry. It's worth it. I would have more regrets if I slept an extra 3 hours a night but never built this. This is something that I care about. And so it's not that I'm special. It's just that, I chose life. I chose hope. I chose joy. Despite what I went through when others wouldn't have, going broke, hitting rock bottom, all that stuff. And that's it. It's just choices, and every single person can do it. So, but it comes down to our choices and no excuses. And we just keep doing it. So anyways, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I really look forward to seeing what we can do here. So anyways, love you guys. Please consider liking, subscribing, joining. Hit the link in the description to get a free month of Patreon to see if you like it. And we can talk in the Discord tomorrow before I go on again tomorrow night. So God bless you guys. Have a blessed night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Good night.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies. while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. I can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polished choir. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I bring the fire. And I bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand, talking in circles, screaming online.